everyone. Hello. It is Sunday. Like I said, it's 7 o'clock, so it's time for Wilson Waffling Live. So welcome along to the live show. If you're watching on YouTube, then hello. And don't forget that you can always pop something in that chat room and say hello. And if you're watching on Ustream, then that's absolutely fantastic as well. I'm monitoring both the chats, so by all means, put something in there as well. So you can go to either place. Oh, I just noticed that Radio YSJ is actually streaming tonight in 14 minutes. So if you're a little bit bored of me, then you can go along to Radio YSJ and listen to Nia's talk show, which would be fantastic. If not, you can stay with me here. So first of all, have you all had a nice week? Have you all been really busy? Have you? Brilliant. Excellent. Really pleased to hear that. So let's just make sure we're familiar with what's going to happen. So this is the live show. It's also it will be recorded, so it'll be available on YouTube later on. But this is the live show that you can watch and you can interact with, and you can do that either by typing into the chat, which you will be able to see on YouTube or on my webpage, wilsonwaffling.co.uk. And by all means, you can go there and type in and say hello, or just sit and lurk, or whatever you want to do, but they're both options. Alternatively, you can, if you wish, go to this Twitter feed and tweet me at iWilsonYSJ, and I'm monitoring the tweet stream all the time, so you can come along and I can see anybody who tweets me, whether or not there's any problems getting into chat, or whether or not you prefer to tweet rather than actually talking the chat, then that's fine. And if you're watching this recorded, so you're actually watching it on YouTube, which will go up tomorrow, then nice of you to have a look and have a watch. But remember, the chat is now dead, but you can, of course, post anything in the comments down below and I will see them. So, what have we got this week in Wilson Waffling Live Show? Well, we've got the normal segment. So in a minute, we will be going along across to Tweets of the Week, where I share with you some of the activity from my Twitter feed. And then we've got the website roundup, when we'll have a look at some of the exciting websites I found. And then we've got Opinion Minion, which when I give you my opinion about something, and this week it's going to be about collective worship in schools. So keep an eye out for that, or stay tuned for that. Or if you're watching this on the recorded show, then if you go to the links down below, you'll be able to jump straight to that part of the show. We will also have draw something, and if I can find my iPad, I'll draw something, and we will also, of course, have Ask Waffling Wilson, and that will be at the end of the show. So first things first, let's get ready to rumble for the tweets of the week. Tweets of the week. Oh, what a busy week we've had this week. So let me tell you what's been happening. So of course, on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, my radio show went out live, and it's a bit like this. My radio show is a bit like this, but with more cheesy pop music and less of me chattering, because you can actually still see me on the radio show because I use Periscope, but you can also hear me talking, and I have a co-host called Alex, a co-presenter, and we talk a lot but play music. Well, this is more sort of like chat. The other thing is, the radio show is more sort of like fun stuff, and this is fun stuff but educational as well. A bit of education for you. So let's get some tweets of the week and let's see what's been happening. So let's first of all go across straight away to the week in school, because this week the first years have been on placement, and I know some of them keep an eye on their tweet of the week to see whether or not they actually get a mention. And this week we've had a range of tweets coming in. So the first one here is from Miss Longworth, and this is a wonderful display that she put up with about Japanese pen pals, and it's really nice display that they did on their first week of SE1, which I think is very impressive for the first week. Very nicely created and symmetrical as well, which is excellent. And there was also a really nice poppy display as well. Now on, and I forget who that was by, but it was really, really good. So, and also on Friday, of course, it was Children in Need. So the members, the SE1, the first years who were out on placement, of course, they dressed up. So here we have two people. I think it almost looks like Little Red Riding Hood and her cat, but obviously heroes in some description. And of course, Alfie, he went as Prince Charming, and here he is as Prince Charming, looking very charming as usual. Of course, as I mentioned before, throughout the week I had my own radio show going on, and this was really exciting because for the first time ever, we actually had a celebrity listening in to the radio show, and this was a newsreader from Minster FM here in York, and she came along, and here she is, Rebecca Lomas, tweeting in. I asked her whether or not she was listening, and she says, I am not heard of this song in ages, sounding great. She also got back to us later on and said what a really good feeling the show gave her, a really feel-good show it was. Also on the radio, we do a segment called This Is Mine, What's Yours? I used to do it on this show, on my live show here, but we actually changed it, and I sort of like moved it over to the radio show, and we talked about cakes. And here's Leah tweeted a whole lot of yummy cakes, and we were talking about what was your favorite cake, and for Leah it was chocolate fudge cake, but some lovely cakes there. Mine, of course, was coffee and walnut, and then we entered into a bit of a debate because what actually happened was that my co-host, or my co-presenter Alex, said that his favourite cake was a Jaffa cake, and here's Shannon tweeting in, Jaffa cake is definitely a cake. And I'm afraid I objected and actually thought that Jaffa cake wasn't a cake, it was a biscuit. Now, in order to try to remedy or to find the answer out, I actually took it on myself to, if you wanted to check something that was to do with cakes and to do with biscuits, who would you message? Well, after much searching on Facebook, we found that she didn't have a Twitter feed. I actually messaged Mary Berry the cook, and I actually asked her whether or not, what is a Jaffa cake? Is it a biscuit or a cake? And I Facebooked her, and I'm not going to tell you whether or not I've heard back yet, because that's going to be a surprise for Tuesday night's show. So if you would like to find out, then you can tune in to Radio YSJ on Tuesday, and the actual address for it, the actual streaming address is myradiostream.com/Radio YSJ, and you can find out whether or not Mary Berry actually responded to us or not, and also what is the answer to the conundrum: is a Jaffa cake a cake or a biscuit? Now, keeping on the radio show, we had some new listeners that tweeted in selfies. So here's Megan and her housemate listening in and joining in the fun on radio, the Wilson Waffling show on YSJ. And also here's somebody who's been increasing his pure education prowess by pumping up with journals. And here's Matthew really demonstrating that it is, you can really get fit with journals. Yeah. He also, by the way, did a session, and I think there's a bit of copyright going on with my theme tune, which I had to have serious words with him. Also, the other nice thing and the final thing for the Tweet of the Week section was the fact that I'm pleased to say that Starbucks has started to, other coffee shops are available, have started to produce or allow their gingerbread lattes to come out. And here's a tweet from Dan who says that it's actually converted him to coffee. I've converted him to coffee by introducing him or mentioning gingerbread lattes. I don't think that is a gingerbread latte because it's got a straw in it, but it might be supping it. But superb coffee. Really like gingerbread lattes. I think in Costa you can get them all year, but in Starbucks it's only at Christmas. So that, let me just check. That is the end of, and I can't find my segment. Where's my segment got? Oh, here it is. That was the end of the tweets of the week. You know, I was frantically. I need to click on something. I'm just going to try something here. Because we are going to... I'm trying to set it up so once it finishes, it goes back to something else, and I can't seem to do it. But I'll carry on. I'll carry on working on this because it just doesn't seem to work. I know with a playlist you can actually go back to the previous picture that's been showing, which would be me, but I'm not too sure. We'll carry on. So let's just zip across to the chat. I'm just going to type something in the chat. Hello, anyone listening, watching? I typed something into the chat to see whether or not anybody's around. There might be lurking. But before we, in order to continue, we're not going to hang around and wait. I don't know what's wrong with my talking tonight. I don't know what's wrong with my talking because it's all sort of like higgledy-piggledy and mixed up, and I can't seem to be forming my sentences correctly, which is not good. And I'm just wondering. Oh yeah, you can hear me. It just seems a bit strange. Oh, there you go. That's probably better. Can you still hear me? Yes, I hope you can. And it's not just sort of like the music looping again and again and again. So what we're going to go on to now. This requires a bit of a changeover, because we're going to look at the website roundup in a minute, but I have to swap my screens over. There, I've done it. I've probably become a lot brighter now because I've sort of like moved across to the other screen. Now, and coming across to the other screen just reminded me of something, because there was one aspect of the radio show that I didn't share with you. I didn't share this with you, and I'm going to share it with you now, because halfway through the show on the radio show we do something known as the Disney half hour, and the Disney half hour is when I actually tweet. I play a Disney song, and the idea is what you have to do is that you have to quickly tweet it as quickly as you can what the show is, what the Disney show is that I'm playing. And I just wanted to share this with you because this is the reaction of somebody. This is the reaction of somebody when they found out that they were first. Now, hopefully the sound's going to work. So here we are. Here's the tweet already, and here's the sound. Here we go.
Lisa.
And the first person was Lisa.
Yeah!
Yeah! We need a round of applause. Fantastic. So it's really nice. It's really nice to see that people actually participate on the show at home and just sort of like keep the show. I must admit, I really love doing the radio show. Nearly as much as doing this show, I must admit, but both the shows are absolutely fantastic, and I do wish that I could put music on this show as well and do it in a similar way as the radio show, but unfortunately copyright law sort of like limit that quite dramatically. And yes, we've got a listener, so thank you, Cassie, for listening into the Wilson Waffling live show. It's lovely to have you along, and good luck with planning those fractions. That we just love fractions. So let's go to the next part of the show, which is going to be the website roundup. It's the website. Hang on, I've got it cut. You know, I listened to the theme tune, but then something went wrong there. I think we're all right. I think Ustream does sort of like stop for a while. It's not been very good tonight, but all of a sudden I did the music, and all of a sudden I didn't click the headphone switch quick enough, and I actually got the music, me talking in my head, which is never so good. So let's talk about the website roundup, and I've got a few things to share with you this week on a range of topics. So first things first is this one. Now, this is the YSJ weekly schedule. So if you're interested in listening to the radio show, remember it's a student-run radio show, and they quite nicely allow me to come in on and have a show on it, which I'm very grateful. But if you're interested in what's going on, you can see there. Let me just zoom in for you. Let me just zoom on air. I'll just pop it above my head there. Can you see it just above my head? It says Wilson Waffling. Join Primary Ed's very own Ian Wilson for Wilson Waffling every Tuesday evening from 8 for fresh and fun topics, as well as some good old pop music. Some cheesy pop music. That's me. Before me, you can see it's best off with Alex and Rachel. They start off at 7. And there's loads of things. The sports show. I actually listened to the sports show last week and learnt so much about football. It was unbelievable. And that's with Alan Mark. And the other thing, that a decade show, that is really nice. If you like the sort of like music that I play, then the Decade show is really good as well. That's 7 o'clock to 8:30. And the other thing I listened to on Friday, which was brilliant, was the talk show. And I think it's Eleanor and I want to say Joanna. I think it's spelled. I think you say it Joanna, but I'm not too sure. And I do apologise if I'm saying that. Incorrectly, but that talk show is fantastic as well. And thank you to another listener. We've got another listener, guys. We've got two people tonight, because we have also got Ben, who's listening while recovering from a week's placement. I hope it went well, Ben. I hope it went well, and you're looking forward to getting back to university. Or normally people don't look forward to getting back to university because they enjoy placement so much. So anyway, that's the rest of the schedule, and if you go to this link here, that takes you directly to the radio stream. So, and you can listen to that. So no matter whatever you're doing throughout the week, you can always find something to do throughout the week about between 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, because you can tune into Radio YSJ. The other thing that I would say is that I saw some very good news this week, and it's quite interesting, this, because I was in teaching maths the other week, and some of the students were telling me about a film that they've seen about killer whales, and it was really interesting that they were saying it's a real life film, but something gets killed or something, and somebody gets eaten by a killer whale or something like that. But it's in one of these SeaWorld centres, and you have to understand, I'm not. I don't like things like zoos and SeaWorld things and things like that. And hang on, let me get to the end. I understand the need for breeding in captivity and looking after the animals and saving the animals, etc. But sometimes I think it might be a bit of an excuse to sort of like tackle the real life issues or the really important issues like environmental deforestation and protecting the environment and habitats, to allow the animals to live in the wild, or to cut down on hunting and things like that. And I know it's a huge topic, but one of the pieces of news that hit the internet this week was this piece, which was to say that the SeaWorld is to phase out killer whale display in San Diego, which there is some stunning pictures here. I mean, that picture is quite stunning, but I often think it's a bit like looking at a goldfish alive in a mug or in a glass or something like that. And the whales, well, they're actually the biggest member of the dolphin family, but they are sort of like intelligent creatures, and I think they're probably a lot better out in the sea. And I don't know what's going to happen to all these whales now, because obviously I don't think they can be released, because they wouldn't survive. But it's interesting that they are going to stop the actual show. And whether or not that means there's less money coming in, and some of that money might be going to protect animals in the wild or captivity or the breeding program, then I don't know. But I just think it can only be seen as something positive. Talking about something positive, I also had a blog brought to my attention, and as you know, I have my own blog called wilsonwaffling.co.uk. When I don't blog, I waffle, and if you've ever seen one of my waffles, you will realise that I do waffle. But it was interesting that this week two bloggers have come to my attention, and on Twitter only today, one of the first years, called Alex, who's a girl, mentioned that she was starting to blog, which I think is really good. I think it's really important to sort of like blog. I think it really sort of like clarifies your ideas and sort of like allows you to reflect on what's going on. And she started to have a blog, and I'm looking forward for her to get it finished, and then I can support her by posting it on my site, redirecting it to her site, but so all my followers can read it as well. And the other thing I read, which I thought was brilliant, was one of my second years called Jess, who has type 1 diabetes, and she has written this blog post called "Can You Eat That? The Highs and Lows of My Life with Type 1 Diabetes." And one thing I will say, I've read it all, and can I say it was absolutely fantastic. And just looking down the list, there's so many people sort of like I said, thank you very much, this is good, well written and interesting, my son is type 1, keep it up, love it Jess, well done for sharing, it's not always easy to be open, but it makes for a brilliant read, made me chuckle in places and panicking equal amounts, seeing your face in all that chocolate. So really worth going and having a look at it and read. Whether or not you are diabetic or you just want to find out more, but it's a really interesting insight into Jess's sort of like life and her highs and lows of diabetes. And I'll post it in the show description notes, the description underneath this video. So by all means, go along, click. I tell you what I need to be able to do, and I don't know how to do it on YouTube, and I don't know whether or not you can actually do it. I wonder if somebody could tell me this. I would love to sort of like go, and if you would like to read that blog post, you can find it here, and sort of like just put sort of like be able to point to something like there, and you'll be able to click it. But I don't think you can actually do that on YouTube. So I'll put it down in the show notes, and you can have a look at the show notes. But really good read. Can You Eat That? The Highs and Lows of My Life with Type 1 Diabetes by Jess Thompson. Now, other things. Now, some of you might know that I am a bit of a geek. I totally accept that. A bit of a science geek. And, you know, everybody was really disappointed when Pluto, the planet, suddenly was downgraded from a planet to a dwarf planet. And there was so much upset and so many sad comments and arguments, etc. But I was reading in the news on bbc.co.uk this week that the most distant solar system object has been spied. Here it is, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it says, and I'll read it for you because it's quite, let me just blow it up for you. It says here, observation, likely an icy body to be some 15.5 billion kilometers from the sun, about 3 times further away than the even far-flung Pluto. So it's 3 times further away than Pluto, which is an immense amount of distance. It is so far away. It was actually said, I was reading it, and it actually said that Voyager, that said the Voyager 1 probe is further away, just. Okay, and that's the one that has been sent out into this solar system or into the galaxy ages ago, and it's just venturing around. And if you've ever watched Star Trek, the first one, it comes back, doesn't it, as an intelligent life form. The Voyager 1 probe has explored now, ventured 20 billion kilometers from home and still going. Absolutely fantastic. So if you would like to read more about that, there's a lovely picture of it. Look, I just think it's excellent that when they do artists' impressions like that, because it just sort of like looks so far away and so impressive. So that was a really interesting read, and so interesting to think that it's so far away, and yet we are reaching out with exploration. And that reminds me, tonight, and if you're watching the recorded show, it's not tonight, it was last night, 9 o'clock, Independence Day is on. That's a good film, So now, last website roundup for today, and I would like you to do something if you do not like a certain animal, because I am going to show you in a second a picture of a spider. So if you do not like spiders, then now is the time to look away. Just look away. Okay, and once I say, I'll tell you when you can look back. Okay, so I'll say you can look back, and don't worry, I won't trick you. So if you do not like spiders and you're watching the recorded show, then look away as well, but keep the audio on. Okay, and then I'll tell you when you can look back. So if you don't like spiders, look away now. Now then, look, here comes the spider. Oh, look at that. I just think that's the most fantastic picture of a spider. But can you see the abdomen here? It's actually very similar to a black widow spider. And this is the problem, that it's a false widow spider, and there's been an infestation that has closed 2 London primary schools because of it. Okay, and there's been an outbreak, and there's probably been eggs somewhere that sort of like burst or cracked open, a little spider thing, a bit like Charlotte's Web, and sort of like gone all over the place. But it's a false black widow. It does produce a nasty bite, however. It does say this. It says that it produces a nasty bite, but it actually closed 2 primary schools. So I thought that was a really interesting read, and a great picture of a spider as well. Now, it's gone, guys. It's gone. If you were looking the other way because you didn't like a spider, then don't worry. It is now gone. It is now gone, so you can look. Okay, so that was the website roundup when I found the slidey clip. Okay, the website roundup is over. That was it. So, now then, I must say at this point that I've been very impressed with the response on Facebook and across the social media about the terrible events in Paris yesterday. Absolutely awful, the events, and I think it's something that shocked the whole world. And I just saw on my webpage then that some more of the seriously injured people has actually died, and it's brought the death toll up to 132. And even those numbers to us, sort of like 132, it's really hard to imagine 132 people that has actually been killed in that awful and terrible, tragic events the last night or yesterday as well. And 132 is just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I just like to say, all our thoughts and prayers are going out to those people, the families and the loved ones in Paris, and the solidarity out there to sort of like come together in this very difficult time, I think is immense and very important that people are coming together and supporting each other. So let's move on to this week's Draw Something. Okay, now this week's Draw Something. Now, for those of you who are new to the show and you haven't seen this before, the Draw Something, and I'm just getting ready because I can't actually set this up beforehand. I can only set it up now. The Draw Something is when I actually draw something live in the studio in my office here, and it's often either a famous movie or book or a word, and you have to guess what it is. Now, last week, and I apologize that I'm looking down at the moment because I'm just getting the iPad ready, and what I have to do here now is that I have to make sure that I change this over as well, because otherwise it won't work, and it's not working. Oh, hang on. Oh, Macintosh mirror, here we go. We might have it. Oh, we might have it. Window, no. iMac, no. Window, come on, work. Yes, working. Got ya. We might have it. We might be in. We might have done it, guys. We might have done it. Let me just check. Yes, we have. We are in action. Here we go. Let me just get rid of that. And here we go. This was last week's. This was last week's film. And this is all I did. All I wrote, and Alex on Facebook actually messaged in and got it right. So well done, Alex. Do you know, I think I need a competition or something for this, for people who are actually phoning in all the time. I think, or mention it. I think what I might do is that I might sort of like give out a badge, or I might do a Wilson Waffling badge or an Amazon gift voucher or something like that. We'll see. we'll see. I'm not promising anything yet, but we'll see how it goes. And I might give out one a month, so all your answers can go into a hat or my Decide Now app, and I'll whirl it, and the winner, for every guest that you get, the winners can all go in there, and then we'll see how it goes. How exciting. Anyway, Alex on Facebook actually got this right, and he said quite correctly that it was, of course, anybody guesses? Any guesses, anyone? It was, of course, The Matrix. It was The Matrix. So well done, Alex. So now we are going to go on to this week's. Now, we've been doing films for a long time, guys, and I'm going to change it today. We're going to go on to popular TV shows. Popular TV shows. Okay, so this is, it's not a film anymore, it's a popular TV show. So you need to guess what this TV show is. So I'm just going to start with this colour. Now, before we start, can I please remind you that if you would like to answer it or give an idea what it is, then you can either tweet me the message, you can either tweet me and tell me what it is, which is at iWilsonYSJ, or you can put the comments in the, you can write your answer in the comments below on the YouTube video, on the YouTube page if you're watching this recorded version, or if you're watching it live, then of course you can actually post it in the chat as well, and we can enter you there, or you can message me on Facebook. It's absolutely fine. Anywhere is possible. So if you go to Facebook, it's on the it's Wilson Waffling page, and you can see the you can post the answers there. So here we go. Do you know, I was just thinking, no, it's all right, I'm safe. I suddenly wondered whether or not anybody put it in the Poll Daddy poll, but they haven't, so I'm fine. So here we go. Popular TV show. Popular TV show. I'm not looking at the chat, guys, so if you put it in the chat at the moment, I can't actually see it because I'm drawing. Right, here we go. This is when my artistic talent comes to the fore. Look at this. I bet some of you can actually already guess what it is. Some of you might. It's a TV show, remember. I'm nearly there. And then I'm going to write in a black, I think. Oh no, that's not black. Is that black? Here we go. Okay, I bet half of you have guessed already what it is. There you go. So that is this week's Draw Something competition. That is this week's Draw Something competition. Now remember, it's a TV show. It's a TV show, and again, you can either tweet me the answer, put the answers in the chat, or put the answer in the comments below the YouTube video. That is this week's Draw Something. Hope you can get the right answer. And I'm back. Right, hang on. Let me just move that. Brilliant. So that was this week's Draw Something. Excellent. So let's move on. How are we doing for time, guys? We've had 40 minutes. I've been chattering away for 40 minutes, which is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I'm just checking Twitter. Nothing happening on Twitter. We can get rid of that. So now we're going to go to my favourite part. Do you know, I love this part of the show, and I love the whole concept of this, and I thought it was going to be massive, but it's coming along. It's coming along, guys. I'm slowly getting there with it. But this is this week's Opinion Minion. I think the reason I like it so much is not because of the music, but because of that opening segment. I just love that. I just love that opening segment. I think it's right. Oh, well done. There's somebody in the chat who's already had a guess at the draw something, which is fantastic. I will record it at the end of this show and put your name in the hat. Ready? So this is, do you know, one of the things that I hate, these glasses I hate. And it's not that I hate these glasses, because these glasses are quite nice, but I just hate glasses. And I have to wear them. If I do this, that's it now. I can't see. I literally can't see anything. You know, everything's completely blurred. So do you think I look weird without my specs on? You probably never see me without my specs on. Anyway, let me just slide them back in. Anyway, the worst thing about wearing glasses is and headphones is that they press on your ears. I mean, I love these headphones. They're really comfortable, but they still sort of like press the little arm sort of like into your head, so it's not that comfortable. Anyway, and so every now and again I have to release it gently like that, and that's what I keep doing. Or when I'm on the radio, I often sit like that, sort of like with one ear, and then I can hear Alex in any case. So anyway, this week's Opinion Minion, and I tweeted it about earlier, and this is a part of the show when I tackle an educational concept or idea, and I tell you, or story, and I tell you what I think about it, So if this is the bit that you sort of like think, oh, don't like this bit, then you go off and make a cup of coffee, but still listen, okay? Have me on in the background, because it's just going to be me talking. So what I would like to talk about today is a newspaper, a BBC News article that I read on the 13th of November, so just on Friday, about religious education, well, more to do with collective worship. This was it, and it says school religious assemblies should be scrapped. Now, for any of you who know about collective worship, the statutory requirement is to have about, or exactly, at least 10 minutes of collective worship a day in some form. So a lot of schools assembly take this on board, or collective worship within classrooms, and it's meant to include a moment of reflection and some religious content. Now, the report actually says that, and I'm going to increase, oh no, that's no good, I'm on the wrong screen. I was on the wrong screen there, guys, ignore that. The study for the Arts and Humanity Research says that such acts must be Christian in nature, could discriminate against other religions, okay? And it adds that there is no clear rationale for the duty, and that parents are often unaware that they can withdraw children from religious assemblies. Now, this is really, there's a picture of a girl praying there. So this is a really interesting topic for me, because when I was actually in school, so I've just got something that's better. I had a big iPad blocking off that screen, which I couldn't see. When I was actually in school, I used to be in charge of collective worship at one point. And this is not because of my religious beliefs or anything like that. It was just that it needed to be sorted, and so I went forth and sorted it. And I use collective worship as reflection time. And I think it's important that children have the opportunity to reflect, and I think teachers should reflect, and they should take time out to sort of like think, what do I actually think about this? I also think there's times in the year when, you know, there's media stories or things happening in the world that it's important for children to be aware of and actually not necessarily understand, because I think at their level it's very difficult, but understand that these do have impacts and there's causes and impacts. The other thing that I'm really passionate about is something that used to be called PHSCE, but now is called PHSHE. And to me, when I was at school, I used to be the PHSCE coordinator, and I actually did a course for the whole year that was actually based on PHSCE. That almost I had to do a huge portfolio, and I could have, if I carried it on a little bit further, it could have classed for 60 points towards my masters. So you can see how in depth it was, but. We also had a PHSCE inspection, which was really interesting. We actually got outstanding for it, which I was very proud of. But I'm really passionate about PHSCE, and sometimes I sort of like feel that the subject sort of like pushed to one side and it's not engaged with. And I was talking to a student in my classroom, in my office the other day, exactly on this point, that it's also PHSCE or almost gets compartmentalized. So into circle time, and that's this and this, and that's it. And sometimes we don't sort of like engage with it sort of like fully. And one thing that I would like to see is, rather than religious assemblies in school, I would like to see a moment of reflection about issues to do with PHSCE throughout the school every day. Every day, I think it is. And a lot of schools do this. And although their assemblies have a religious content, they also have this moment of reflection. And if this report says that it should be scrapped, then I hope what they do, and I'm just going to call it up again, sorry, so you can see it. I hope they take out that word religious. I hope that's the bit that... And before you all sort of like shout at me or whatever, it's not because of any belief or anything like that. I just feel that it's really important for schools to come together in assemblies and actually discuss things and reflect on things. And I can guarantee on Friday with Children in Need, I bet there was a whole load of assemblies across the country when they were getting together and talking about children in need and talking how it actually impacts, and having that moment of reflection about, you know, how lucky some children are, or how lucky we are compared to others, and how, you know, giving that little bit can make a big difference in the long run. So I do hope that what they do is keep the assemblies. I would hate to think that assemblies and that collectiveness disappears. I also think that, or hope that within that collectiveness, that those assemblies, there's this element of PHSCE that is promoted, this element of celebration, this element of saying thank you and reflection, coming together with staff and children, all sort of like reflecting on things. Excuse me a minute, bit of a cough. Reflecting on things and sharing thoughts and celebrating changes. So, to sum up, I think if this report is to say that schools' religious assembly should be scrapped, then my temptation is to agree with it, and sort of like open it up to allow children to see a range of religions and a range of beliefs in order to develop both tolerance and also to allow them to make their own opinions and judgments. I also think, what I hope is that they maybe don't scrap the whole assembly idea. They keep that collectiveness of bringing the school together in order to celebrate and reflect, but also they keep that together every day in order for the collective assembly, as I'm going to call it, to continue. And that was my opinion of the week. And there I am. I'm back. Right. So we're coming to the end, guys. We're nearly there. We're coming to the end, and it's been nearly an hour. It only takes an hour. It's a bit like the radio show, but this seems to go a lot quicker because I'm frantically talking all the time, which I know it's not, and you have to look at me all the time, but it is a live show, and thank you to the people who are actually listening in and watching at the same time, which is fantastic. But to finish off, sorry, itchy nose. To finish off, we've got the infamous, the wonderful, Ask Waffling Wilson. Yay!
The number you have dialed has been changed. The new number is...
Ask Waffling Wilson.
Please note, the new number is...
Ask Waffling Wilson.
Hello?
Hello? Yes, it's me. It's Ask Waffling Wilson. Now, please remember that if you have any question that you would like me to answer in this part of the show, then you can either go along to my website, and at the top of the website, you will be able to see, here it is, here's my website. Just here, look, there's a button that says Ask Me. And you can press on there. You don't need to log in or anything. You can ask questions anonymously if you wish, or you can put that who it is. Put your name, so you can put something like Ben, and then put the question if you wish. Or alternatively, you can actually go along to find it to this web page, which is http://ask.fm/Waffling Wilson. And if you go there, then you can post your question there. So every week it comes to my phone here. I'm going to get a new phone soon. I think I might upgrade to a 6S. My only worry about it, and people who know me will realize this, but if you don't know me, you won't. I think we need to discuss this sometime, because I think men have real problems with phones, because women can carry handbags and things like that to put their phones in, and I don't like putting my phone in my pocket. If I carry wallets and keys in my pocket, and I'm really worried that it's going to scratch the screen. And I try to put it in my back pocket, but I always forget and sit down on it and things like that. So I actually wear it. I have a belt holster that it clicks into on my belt. And I'm really worried that if I get a 6S, it'll look like I've got like a huge belt pouch. I'll look like a bit like Batman with a utility belt. So I'm a bit worried about that, but we'll see. Anyway, new phone shortly. So here we go. We're going on to the Ask page, if I can find it on my phone. Here we go. And we'll see what questions we've got. Oh, it actually says, do you know, this is really weird, because on Wilson Waffling radio show, we have a question that I call Ask Alex, and it's would you rather have arms for spaghetti or spaghetti for arms, or something like that. That's not right, but it's something like that. And one of the questions we asked last week in the radio show was, would you rather be able to speak any language fluently or have the ability to talk to animals? And that's what we actually asked, and it's come before the question of the day. Anyway, that's not what the question is, and it's a bit spooky, this, because I don't normally see this at all. And it says, how often do you change your mobile phone? And I've just answered that question, which is a bit spooky. But anyway, how often do I change my mobile phone? I tend to do it every second upgrade. So every second upgrade, I tend to buy a phone. So believe it or not, when the iPhone came out, I actually didn't have an iPhone. I actually had a Nokia while the iPhone came out. And I actually bought my iPhone when the 3G came out. So I had a 3G, and then I had a 4S, then I had a 5S, and now I've waited until the 6S comes out to upgrade again, if that makes sense. So I actually jump, I miss one out and then go to the next one. The other thing you will realise is that I don't have an Apple Watch, which, being an Apple fan, you might be thinking, why does he not have an Apple Watch? And the reason for this is that, number one, this phone will do an iPad, an iPhone, an iWatch, but this one won't do Apple Pay, and I want to wait until I get the 6S to sort of like link it to my phone. The other thing is, due to what I was just saying, I like to do the second upgrade, so I'm actually waiting a while to see whether or not they're going to bring out a new iPhone and an iWatch, and whether or not the next upgrade might be a little bit better. They might have some better looks or something like that. So I'm going to wait a while. So that was the how often do you change your mobile phone? It was every 2 upgrades, second upgrade. So we're coming to the end. It's 54 minutes of the show gone. So thank you very much for coming along and listening tonight. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then thank you very much for watching it on YouTube. And please remember, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, so to say that you like it. It's always nice to get some feedback, or put your comments in the comments section below. Just before we go, I'd just like to remind you that wilsonwaffling.co.uk is always up to date and is full of interesting stuff. This week I wrote a blog post, let me just go really big, called I Had an Interview. So I had an interview this week. So if you're interested about what I actually had an interview about, then that's me. Look, that's me there having my interview. There's also last week's show, Wilson Waffling Live, episode 57. This is 58. Two more, we're at 60. Do you know, the longest I've ever done videos for is that ages ago when I was still teaching on my YouTube channel. I actually did, I think it was 64 daily vlogs, daily videos. I did a video every single day for 64 days, and then I stopped. And I think... so 57, this is episode 58, so I'm coming up to that point now, but I'm going to plow through the wall. I think about show 60, I hit a wall, and I sort of like think, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, oh, I don't know what to do, is people liking it? And I'm just going to plow through it. I'm just going to keep going until I get to 100. But if you do go to there, you can see pictures, generally a description of what I do, but down here, can you say this is where you can click, so you can jump to specific parts of the show straight away if there's anything that you really want to have a look at instantly. There's also, if you're interested in joining the forums, there are some forums on wilsonwaffling.co.uk. So if you're interested in posting on that or becoming a contributor to the forums, then by all means sign up to the webpage, and you can see that there's a register button just up here in the top left hand corner. There's also some badges and levels, so if you're really interested and really want to become part of the community of practice, which is Wilson Waffling, I think there's only 6 people in it at the moment, then by all means you can start to collect your open badges on Wilson Waffling. So you could be a waffling beginner, a novice waffler. Look, I've made them all up. And if you keep going, and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, look, it goes on and on and on. And then eventually, when you've got enough points, you can actually become a waffling legend. And you can do that by completing various actions, and like commenting and posting, etc. And there's also there are some actions here that you can see. This is what you can do to get points. Okay, lots of stuff there. And also there are some challenges that you can do, and I've lost those at the moment, but there are some challenges. So if you fancy doing a challenge straight away, then your first challenge is to become a fellow waffler, and you get 300 points for that. So by all means, go along to this website and join in. If you press continue reading there, it tells you exactly what you need to do. Only five required steps, and you could be a fellow waffler just like me. So also please remember that you can always go and ask questions there as well, and join in the community there, which would be fantastic if you would like to join that. So sadly, we're coming to the end of the show. And once again, we have arrived at the end, and this is the end of Wilson Waffling episode 58. I really hope you've enjoyed the show, and thank you to Ben and Cassie, who's been following along and messaged in the chat room. Thank you to anybody else who's there and been lurking but also participating. And thank you if you're watching the recorded version of this. And if there's anything that you would like me to talk about or include in the show, then please remember to add it in the comments below, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So people, this has been episode 58 of Wilson Waffling Live, and I now, like I say at the end of the radio show, I would like to bid you all a very good evening, and I would like to say, please consider yourself, and I need to talk a bit because I'm just queuing up the end music. I would like to say, have a wonderful night, everybody, and consider yourself waffled. See ya. Bye.
Wilson Waffling. Wilson Waffling.